Good day, fish tankers. Shout out to my young friend from down the road, Jack Skillicorn, who gave me the idea for this video, because young Jack is hell-bent on getting himself a 2-foot tank. What is a 2-foot tank? Well, as the name says, it's 2 foot or 60 centimeters long, 30 centimeters from back to front, and usually 30 centimeters from bottom to top, and that's about 15 gallons, just under 60 liters in our terms. Yes, I know this is technically not your standard 2-foot tank. It's a little bit higher from bottom to top than your standard one. It'll be about here. So you know what I'm getting at. What kind of fish can you put into a 2-foot tank? Because usually what you get is top 10 fish for a 15-gallon tank, or put whatever number there in the volume. And what it tells you usually is a bewildering array of different fish, but it doesn't tell you how many of each and which fish can go with which and live in peace. So what I'm going to do here is give you 4 cookie cutter recipes, as it were, 4 stocking lists for a tank like one of these. If that sounds interesting, stick around. Okay, fish tankers, so we're going to make a few assumptions here. Number one is that you know how to cycle a tank. In layman's terms, that just means you have to establish a population of beneficial bacteria that converts ammonia to nitrite. And there's many videos out there on how to cycle a tank. I do it in a very old school way. If you want me to make a video about that, let me know in the comment section. I just think there's so many of them already out there. So it goes without saying that your tank should have a bit of beneficial bacteria established, and ammonia and nitrite should read 0. Right, that's the first thing. And the second thing to keep in mind is we're talking about planted aquariums here. So we're going to plant the tank, and it's a tropical tank. So we're going to assume you have a heater thermostat. We're going to assume there's a filter of some kind in the tank. And because there are plants, you're going to have a light of some kind as well. Now, another thing that you must keep in mind is don't fall prey to Noah's Ark syndrome. What is that? Don't fall to the temptation to keep 2 of each fish, 2, so that you can have as many different species as possible in the tank. It throws out the balance, and a lot of the fish aren't happy that way. They want to be in greater numbers, not all of them, but some of them. So it's better to have more of each fish and fewer species than to just have a mix match and a smarty box of everything. Right, with that in mind, let's dive right in. That brings us to our first option, the popular community tank. That's just some colorful and interesting fish. And we start by putting in the hardier bottom dweller first, and we'll put in about 6 of these coolie loaches. They are very peaceful fish. Give them some ideals like caves and driftwood and plants. And in a small group, they'll be very happy. Remember to drop in a pellet just before night time, or a tablet, so they have some food to eat. And about a week or 2 later, you can add some neon tetras. I'd add 10 of these neon tetras, maybe add 6 for 1 week, wait another week and add another 4. But I would go for a group of 10, because they will fill out that middle of an aquarium. And in a substantial number in a planted tank, they really do look great and make for a very nice display. It's a classical choice, but it always works. And then you need something for the top of a tank, and for that I would take 6 Harlequin rasbouras. You can have a classical Harlequin rasboura like these, or you can even opt for the Espay rasboura, the lamb chop rasboura. Either or, doesn't matter. And they grow a bit bigger than the neon tetra, and the males will make a spectacular display in the tank. So these 3 groups of fish will fill out the layers nicely. And then a centerpiece fish, and what better than a honey gourami. I'll take a single male honey gourami, and they are quite bold in personality, but they're peaceful, and that will offset your groups of smaller fish in the tank. And you can also get a red variety of honey gourami called the red robin, so you can have either the classical yellow one or the red one, doesn't matter. Option 2 is the Livebearer tank. And here I will opt for 8 platies, because they'll breed in the tank. If there's enough plants, some of the youngsters will survive, so that's why we're not starting with huge numbers. But important to get the ratio of the sexes right. I have not more than 2 males and 4 females. I would maybe even just have 1 male and all 7 of the rest of the plat is females. If you have soft water, remember to put a handful or 2 of crushed coral in the substrate and they will serve you well. And then for the bottom, the classical more common Corydoras like the albino cory or the pepper cory or even the classical bronze cory, but take a group of 6 of them and don't do Noah's Ark. Pick one kind or one color variety and have 6 of them. You'll be much happier like that. Then option 3 is nanofish and shrimp. Now guys, please take the time to smash that like button. I will greatly appreciate that, and we'll start here with a group of 15 of these rasbouras. Of course, I'm talking about the chili rasboura, and they grow into this very nice red color, but they're tiny fish, so you need a substantial amount, and they stay on top. And when filling out the middle, yet another neon tetra, but this is the green neon tetra. They stay much smaller, so you don't need to worry about them with your shrimp. And I'll get a group of 10 of these. You need a big number, so 10 will be the minimum, I'd say. And you can add them later. Then of course you need something for the bottom, and there I will add 8 pygmy cories. That's a nice number. They like big groups. So you see we're stocking the tank slowly over weeks. And then I'll leave the shrimp for last because you want some biofilm to develop, and I'll add 8 cherry shrimp. If you can have some cholo sticks or some spider wood with biofilm, that will give them a great start. And then I'll round it off with another easier to keep shrimp. 4 of these are mono shrimp, and you'll also have a nice little algae eating crew. And then you have a very interesting tank of shoals of tiny little fish and shrimp, and that would be something that not everybody has. And that leads us to our final option, and those are dwarf cichlids. Just a pair of dwarf cichlids, so it's almost a species tank as we look at this male Apistogramma agassizii, but not quite a species tank, because first we're going to add some diverfish. Diverfish are simply fish that move around, that give dwarf cichlids a sense of security, so they show themselves more, but you don't want anything in the bottom or the middle, because that's where the dwarf cichlids will be. That'll cause conflict. You want fish that stay at the top, so I'll opt for 6 zebra danios. They'll stay at the top. If you have harder water or you're a beginner, then I would go for the cribensis. These are the hardiest of the dwarf cichlids in my opinion, and mom and dad will eventually breed and they'll be babies, so make sure they have hidey holes like driftwood, some rockery maybe, plants, and even an upturned coconut shell or a flower pot can work. You can also opt for a pair of Apistogramma McMasteri or even a pair of Apistogramma cacatoides, but in this 2-foot tank we're going to have only a single pair of dwarf cichlids, male and female, and then the 6 danios as diverfish on top. You can also have a Apistogramma agassizii super red, like you can see the male here, and you'll see the female popping out of a flower pot shortly. Guys, please remember to share among your fishy groups and remember to subscribe. I hope I gave you a few ideas for your next fish buying trip and something to do with that 2-foot tank. And until I see you again, keep taking good care of those domestic denizens of the deep.